Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just Chat. I'm your host, Uncle Dominic. Today, we have a very interesting topic. Our topic is the pathway to happiness. Now, we are all wondering, what is happiness? We all want to get there, right? We all want to get there. But today, we'll find out how. We'll learn more about it, right? So, we're going to learn more about the secrets, the strategies, and the mindset shifts that can lead us to a happier and more joyful filled existence. Now, I'm not going to say this is easy because this world is buzzing with challenges and uncertainties, and finding our way to happiness become a very essential journey. Okay, so and today we have our guest here today is Pratibha. I'm going to invite her to the show, and she will talk a little bit more. All right, so welcome, Pratibha. Hello, Pratibha.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the
Hello. Hi,
show.
Dominic. How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you
How are
so much.
you
Thanks for
in India
inviting me.
right now?
Yeah, I'm good. And India has just been through the one of major festival. It's one of the um, big announcement and festival that yesterday we have celebrated. So all's good.
Wow, is it
Yeah.
like a New Year thing?
No, it's not New Year. It's like one of the major uh, it's temple which has been inaugurated yesterday,
Okay,
which is
okay.
like people were waiting from last 500 years.
Wow.
So the whole country was decorated and they celebrated
Oh, so
for that.
that's pretty fun. That must be pretty big. Must be lots of food, I think, right? Should be lots of food.
Food, decorations, crackers, everything. Yeah.
My friends know me because I really like food mostly. But yeah, welcome to the show, Pratibha. Could you introduce to the listeners a little bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. So, as you know, my name is Pratibha. I belong to India, part of North India, basically Noida location, and I am into human resource industry, like HR industry, having more than 8 years of experience, contributing towards giving back to the society where I can help it to motivate people, to give them positive aspects, and all those steps on my backend side, but majorly I work in HR operations.
And that is that is actually very important, giving back to the community, right? We gain so many things, we learn so many things. It's time to help the younger generations to get on their feet.
Yeah, that's very true. Right now, like people are moving towards very different situations, and they are growing very rapidly with positive mindset, and sometimes they get set back also. So I'm trying to make a balance where if they are facing any challenges, I also have multiple channels where I support, where I take the sessions one to one with them and try to give them solution. If they are having any, they can connect to me.
And has it been very successful so far?
Yeah, it's going well. So I give them a free sessions generally, so they can connect to me and they book me on the top made pre-place. There are multiple platform, so I give them advice and suggest them according to their career choices and different areas.
That is good because I remember back in those days where when we want to seek advice, it's so hard to find advice, like especially because there's no internet available, or and the only people who can get to talk to is probably your teachers or your friends or your parents or your uncles and your aunts, and sometimes those advices, I would say non-professionally, uh, are not great advices, but you don't know them. You just think they're great, and leads to lots of problems, right?
Yeah,
And so I'm
exactly.
glad that with technology now
Yes,
people are able to meet everywhere, anytime at all, and get advices, right? So that's what you are doing. So that's great. All right. So now let's go to our topic. The topic today is pathway to happiness. So I explained a little bit about happiness earlier. It's very difficult to obtain, and people always seek for it every day in their life, right? So what does happiness mean to you?
so happiness is like, if I have to describe it, so for me happiness is a journey. So I always, say to the people, and which I have realized that we set many goals for ourselves. We find happiness in certain things which we set. Like supposedly, if I need something, I'm happy for it. That I'm working for it, and I will be getting tomorrow. But when the tomorrow comes, when I get that, I am actually not that happy. Maybe I'm happy, but again, I'm praising for some other thing. So it's a journey. You can't be happy for one thing for a constant time. It cannot be continue for lifelong. So I see that happiness is not a destiny, but it's a journey that you go through that, and it's in your present. So it's like the thing which we plan for tomorrow that never comes. Tomorrow, I see that tomorrow never comes. So whatever you're planning, that is okay, but you need to enjoy your present, what you have. Then only you can feel the happiness. And then the person who realize himself and who realize their actual reality and enjoying the present, that is the most happiest person in the world.
And that's why it's called present. Enjoy the present, right? Present moment. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I actually had
yeah,
this.
exactly. I mean,
Sorry, go on.
yeah, if you have seen the recent situation related to COVID, before 2 years, and it spread worldwide and impacted so many people in the world. That was the hard reality check that it impacted so many people, and people in the before in the past, they might have planned so many things for future, and they might have not been enjoyed. Like they people use savings, they make plannings, they make their present adjustment to have their future secure. But does that really come? So it's like very uncertain thing which we do it for future, and because of that we compromise our present sometime. So that was a hard reality check when it impacted the life of people and they couldn't do anything. So
Mhm.
then it made most of the people realize, and even to me, morally, that you need to live in the present, enjoy your present, what you have right now, and then enjoy your happiness. It should not be waiting for future.
Okay, I guess that is right in some ways. I will agree with you in most ways, but people will tend to say in this way: if we enjoy too much of the moment, and then we neglect the future. So for a younger generation, younger kids, for my students, for example, in school, I was like, teacher, think too much. We just focus on being happy. What's the point of going to school in the future? There's no point. There's no college, right? I don't need all those things. I need just to be happy right now. So,
Yeah.
in
I
this
mean,
sense, as an educator, I would say uh, some ways are correct, but some ways I feel like you're neglecting some things that could happen. For example, if we were to say that I'm gonna be happy right now, I'm gonna do all the things that I want to do. So this could include some bad things as well. And if they decide to do some bad things, and then the next day they're still around, and or whatever still is going on, it impact a lot of things in the future, right? If it doesn't happen, or if it happens, we don't know. And so it makes things a little bit more difficult in life. What do you think about this?
there are different aspects around that. So if I say that if like I have to plan my future, I have to study for future. Definitely, you need to do that. You need to plan, but don't compromise your present because of
Mm.
that. So supposedly, if I'm studying in 10th class and I have to give the board exam in coming months, and I have to study hard. I know that I have to study, but I should not be like motivating that why I'm doing study. You should be feeling positive about it and enjoy your present whatever time. Like you should be dedicating your time, we organize it. There are some ways that how you can utilize your time effectively, and according to the situation you're preparing, like you're preparing for future, but you should not neglecting your present also. So a context to the study, if I talk about, obviously you need to study, but whatever the time you are having free, like supposedly if some time you have to dedicate for yourself,
Mm.
that time it should not go on demotivation about thinking that what will happen if I don't do study, what will happen when our come. So you should use that time in keeping the things positive. You can talk with your friends, you can go out, take some fresh air, maybe you can meditate, so that your memory can be better because of that. So I mean, work on positive side, enjoy your present, and work on the future. If your future can on your present, depend only on future, that will also destroy your present. You never know if future is coming or not, so you have to make a balance of it. So
And
we
that's
like
that's
the
very
very
important.
funny thing that we keep the alarm every night, and that's a major statement that people say, we put the alarm every night for tomorrow morning, but we never know that whether tomorrow morning is coming or not, we will wake up tomorrow morning or not. So we obviously need to plan what if things get missed out, but obviously don't miss out on present also.
Mm. That's a good. I like the word you use quite often, which is compromise, right? So we tend to compromise ourselves, uh, pretty much. It's like, we have a set ideal of things we want in life, and things happen, and then we tend to use it to compromise our goals, our plans, and it becomes unstable. I guess in this way, our pathway to happiness kind of deteriorated from the main road, right? Just goes widely different. Um, I want to focus a little bit more. I want to talk about happiness here. A couple months back, I was having this lesson with my students. I was explaining to my students about short-term happiness and long-term happiness. Particularly, I mentioned that every human being wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy, and I use the word belong. Everyone wants to belong somewhere, and when we want to belong somewhere, we search for, like, call it happiness. And sometimes the long-term happiness is so hard to obtain, and we tend to go for the easy route, which is short-term happiness. And you mentioned that as well earlier, about buying a car or buying something you like, and then the next day you don't like it anymore. Well, for me, I would consider that as short-term happiness. And I think that is great for, how do we say, people with lots of money. They have lots of money, and they can buy all kinds of things they want for short-term happiness. They can takes them from maybe 12 when they're 12 years old to they're 60 years old. If they have enough amount of money, they can keep having this short-term happiness. But then one day, eventually, one day, it's all gonna be gone, and people will start realizing this is not what they want. And I think I've been seeing this a trend within the celebrities, the actors, movie stars, whoever they are. Most of them are like, oh, money is not everything. They realize is that we need something more than money, right?
Yeah, right. So these are the stages when we cross it, like when it's short term or long term is same thing. What what you are aiming for. So supposedly, if you are aiming for a car, just like you said, if you buy it, if you have it, you will not aim it for anymore. Now you will have a different destination. So it's like, if you have, firstly we aim for money, like we don't have house, we don't have car, we don't have bigger TV or something luxury car. Then we aim for, we have enough money, we have everything. Now we think that no, money is not the thing that I wanted. I want a happiness. So previously, the happiness was lying into those things, those materialistic things that we were aiming for. But now, since you have it, now you don't feel that happiness anymore to into those things. Now you're aiming into a different kind of things, like your relations,
Mm.
love, people who should be close to you, your friends. Now you are going beyond to that. So I feel that these are the stages. And the craving, I also have an article around it, the craving of happiness. We always crave for it, but when we get it, it's just that it's gone, and then we again have something. So it's like that. We never get that actually. We
Mm.
get it, but we don't realize it. We may realize it even for some time, but then we forget a name for a different thing. So when we age, when we grow, our desires change, our ambitions change, and our motive of happiness also change.
So would you say
And
this changes
like,
is great? Like, I understand the changes is great. Like, it's very important to have all this, to understand that material things do not last forever, right? Relationships do, or feelings do, or education does. And so how can we like, well, let's put it this way. Most of my students right now are all in high school, like junior high schools and high schools. So right now they don't really think so much about their future, and so whatever they want right now is, I want food, I want ice cream, or I want something tangible, right? Or I want some K-pop idols card or poster, those things. And when they tell me how much they spend on those things, I'm like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, there are other things you can work on, like money for a better book or better something, but to them that is their happiness. So what kind of
Right.
advice would you give to these young people, or should we just say let them evolve from where they are right now until they get older, then they can start to learn about it, or should they start from young? So there's two
So
questions.
I think for kids,
Yeah.
so I think for kids, if I talk about, so I mean, there are different. I mean, kids also have different level of maturity sometime, and sometime they find it in a different way. So it also depends on the environment from they are coming from. So if supposedly if some family is belongs in, like their environment is very rich and something like that, they already have something, then their focus is on a different level. And if some families in middle side and they are craving for something, the children must be craving which they don't have. And when they get money and they aim for something, and they're depending on the friend circle also. So the environment what you have from family and the environment what you are choosing in your friend circle or in your school, that is very important. So I mean, choosing your friend circle give you a motivation whether you should go for a short term materialistic happiness or you want to choose a long term happiness. These are the building phase of your destination. So it's like the goal you're choosing, the career path you're choosing. And these time, as you said that previously we were not having those in that much of internet connection, we were not having this connection where we can talk to people and take advice that what we should do, what is important, and coming forward in the future what we should take right now, that should be important in our future, and it should benefit us. So coming like taking my example, when I crossed my 12th and decided to do my graduation, I wanted to go on different side, but my family pushed me to a different sector. So I studied from a computer background, but I wanted to go into law. That was my interest that time, but my family chooses me to go into computer background. I said okay, that is okay, because I feel that that is also trending technology, and it will have a good scope in the future. But I did that. I scored well. I was good in study that time. And due to uncertainty or some related to background, say you like from India, I was coming from a small hometown, like small town, where people get married early. So my parents forced me in the last year of graduation to get me married.
Oh, right, right, right.
So again, that was, yeah, that was not my choice, but it was, I was not in a condition that I should take stand for myself. I was not aware that what I have to do in future, what is scope for me, and where I'm standing right now, and what I will do if I'm not agreeing to my parents what they are saying. So I agreed to them. I did not had any choice. So when I get married, and my husband, again, I wanted to go into computer background and the same, but my husband, he said no, you should go into human resource industry, because he thought that it's a very easy job, which is not actually. So again, it was the family choices where sometimes we used to depend on, we were not having the clarity on the different industries from people or the background from outer world. So it was just the family, whatever they said, we were okay with that. But right now there people have multiple choices, they get multiple advices, and even people are ready to support. People are now believing in giving back to the society, sharing the positive things, motivating people. So just like I also take the sessions from student, like student also book me to give them advice that what they should do in future, how they should prepare, where they are lacking. So I think taking advice and assistance from people is very good thing that this generation have, and they should utilize it to the full potential, to realizing their strength, that where what is their strength and where they can good, and what is the career path and what they can choose it for the future.
Mm.
So I would suggest that to take the opportunity of taking advice and assistance from people, and believe and take the decisions accordingly.
I like that. What in some ways I feel like most parents feel, well, I say most parents, I would say all parents, right, will know that their kids, they think they know what's best for their kids, and most of the time they are. I have children of my own, and sometimes I think that what I know is best for them. Maybe it's not entirely the case, but feels like that's one way of doing it. And for example, if we were like your parents mentioned to you to get married earlier, um, how old were you when they advised you to get married? What,
I was running in
20s?
20.
Okay, so like early marriage, right? So a young age. And then the career wise, and then you mentioned when you get married your husband has a different idea for you for your path of career. But in this case we'll say that from your husband point of view it will be kind of like in the same level as you are, and at the same time we can pretty much take it take the advice or not. But in a case where there is a parent and a child involved, the choices of them listening to the parents is almost like 90%, right? If there's 10% of them would not listen to the parents, then they're a rebel. So things could be wrong in a lot of cases. And I think in most Asian cultures, well, I think in India is an Asian country as well. So in most Asian cultures, children tend to respect the parents more, and they tend to listen to what the parents advises for them. Where else in Western culture, uh, parents will give advice, obviously, and children are still free to have multiple choices to pick the path they want. And sometimes with that too much freedom, I think it's sometimes is not so great because they might choose the wrong path and they get lead to the wrong way. I mean, as a parent myself, I feel like I have been through this path. I know what is right and what is wrong, or at the same time, I know which is better and which is not so great. And so I want my kids to have this a better path towards their end term goal, towards their
Yeah,
happiness, right? So if this were to
that
happen,
if parents
yeah,
want
sorry.
parents wants their children to be happy and to be on secure zone, but they also worried to take risk. I mean, if a child or children want to do something extra or go into a different field and try something, they also fear about the risk. If what if they fail, what if they did do well in the
Mm,
future, so it's kind of insecurity that they have. That is why they want to keep the child future secure. That is why their concern is right, I mean, I would say. But you have to, I mean, as a child, as a mature person, because now we are 10th and 12th and graduation, that time we have to select a career path. We have to be mature enough that what path we are choosing, and obviously if we are choosing in some pressure, it would not lead you to happiness, and it would not give you a sense of satisfaction that you would do. So obviously whatever you're doing, you should be feel satisfied, then only you will be able to contribute towards it. Otherwise, if you're not doing with your heart, then you won't be able to do.
that is true. That
So
is true.
sometime, yeah, children these days like have different kind of motivations and different attraction of fascinating things, which is also distraction for them. And we as a parents, like I also have two kids, and my niece is also preparing for NEET. And but I only, I mean, coming as from now, I'm parent, so I feel that I also want my child future to be secure, but I also want at the same time that should be mature. I mean, they also should know that what is good for them. And it's not that leaving the study or attracting to a different thing, that is also not going to work. So basic thing is your study, you also should be strong towards it, and if something you want to do additional, then you are free to go. But it should not be compromised with your
Mm.
study what you are doing right now. So, I mean, coming back to my childhood time when I was with my parents and like we were into city that time, and I was very good in study that time and was topper amongst everyone in the class. But due to uncertainty, my grandfather was in village and he got heart attack. So my mother decided to come back and to take care of him. And being a girl child, I was very close to my mother, and I decided, no, I also want to come back with my mother. But my father, like, he was so wanted me to keep time. I did not listen to village, which impacted my study somehow, which I feel that because that time it was like he was comparing, when I was in third class he was comparing me to sixth or seventh class student, but then it was like I became very average student. So now I regret sometime that was it me that I was doing that great in childhood and what I am now. What if I have listened to my father and
Mm,
have been there with him, I could have been a different person. So regret. But and people, they do so many, they take many decisions where they feel that regret, like past is past, it's done. I also feel regret, but we can't do anything by going to past. That how you're learning from that and how you're not repeating that to future, and how you're taking the learning to shape your future. So supposedly if you did something wrong in your past, so now you know that this will go wrong, and how you have to how you have gained that experience from that failure, and how,
mm,
now you can improve that in your future. So I think
mm,
these are the things. I mean, it will not give you the present happiness, but it might be like you can, it will remove your regret from the past, because there is no
mm.
control over it. You can only work on future and your present also. So the two things which is important for pathway to happiness is just your present has to be happy, because I believe that you have to make your present better, and it will automatically shape your future better.
That's good. That's a good ending right there, like that you just said. I feel like we could end the show right here because of that sentence. But I feel like there is regret. I'm gonna say there is regrets, but then most of the time we spend so much time thinking about the regrets. We just forget, like you said, forget about the present, forget about the future, and it leads us to a different path, and it becomes not a good path. And this is very difficult in most for a lot of people, because some regrets are maybe are so hard to the heart that it's difficult for them to get back on track, and if there's no one else around them to support them, to help them, and so people tend to fall away. And this tend to happen to a lot of teenagers, probably the age of 16 to 18, of people from age 20 to 30s, or well, I'm just going to say all of them, but 16 to 18, and then from 20 to 30s, in that age, right? And for older people will be around 50s onwards, or maybe a little bit down, where they start to think about their life choices, or the choices that they made, or the wrong things they made. And then when they start thinking about it, it becomes very difficult for them to grasp happiness already. I
Exactly. I
actually had a
mean,
conversation earlier before this podcast. um, there was this guy, he told me, oh, this guy Kevin, he told me there's no such thing as eternal happiness. And I was like, why? I was like, why is there no such thing as eternal happiness? Like, because there's always going to be sadness. You're always going to be happy, you're always going to be sadness. You need to understand. He told me you need to understand that sometimes you can be happy, sometimes you can be sad, but in the all things around, you just have to keep on going. Remember that happiness, there's also sadness, there's always both, so you have to accept them both. And I found
exactly.
that.
And we, your happiness involves struggle, the challenges. And if there are challenges and struggle, then only you will be able to feel the happiness. Otherwise, there is no value. If everything is going well, obviously you're not going. So your journey involves the struggle, challenges, obstacles that you are facing. And when you overcome that, then only you will be able to face that happiness path. I mean, the journey where you will feel struggle,
Mhm.
sadness, obstacles, but you will also feel that happiness. So you will feel it, but again, that will come and the cycle will repeat. Again, you will aim for different thing. Again, you will feel the struggle and obstacles, and again, you will aim, you will get that happiness. So it just we are alive. So it give you the sense of livingness that yes, you are doing something, and these are the just highs and lows that you are facing with the life, and obviously that indicates that you are alive and you're doing the things right, because if things are straight, there is nothing. It always has to be high and low. So then only you will be feeling, there are different emotions, there are different feelings. If you're feeling that, you're doing good.
Uh, One of my students told me before that he hasn't had any setbacks in his life yet. I was like, oh, that's great for you. I mean, that's great. Hopefully, there is none in the future. But I told him if there is one, just remember, just keep on moving, keep on growing, keep on getting better at it. Because some people haven't experienced that thing, the sadness in their life yet. And my students mentioned that, and I'm happy that they haven't yet, because some sadness are actually very sad, and but we all have to learn how to get by it, get over it. It's difficult.
Yes.
And you work in HR, right? So th- we're gonna talk about professionals people now, like people of the older age, right? So they are going to have problems in their personal life, right? And so what kind of advice would you give them to be, to keep moving, to keep going if they have problems?
Yeah, I mean everyone have problem, whether it is personal, professional. So problems are part of life, but one thing which should be constant is keep on moving. So whatever you have, if you have any problem, just face it. You cannot ignore it, and you cannot just close it and keep it somewhere. If you have problem, you face it, but just overcome that. If you have problem with your relationships, talk about it, talk with them, sort it out, and then move on. So everything have a solution, I say that. But the solution comes when you talk to people. So whether it is your personal, with your friends, colleagues,
Mm.
or your wife, your girlfriend, anyone to whom you love, it's very important to talk about it, talk with them. And I also feel that when it is difficult, you should always have one person in your life which should be close to you but true to you. So it's like if you're having one, at least one person who is there to listen to you, irrespective of wrong, right, and everything. The person is there to listen you. It's important, like for them it is only one thing which matters is you, and they are ready to listen you, and they are ready to give their shoulder to you. Whether you can say anything, you can, whatever problem you have in the world, you can talk about it to them. And definitely it's not that they are going to solve it or they are going to give you some magic stick, but you will definitely feel relaxed because of that, and it will give you this satisfaction, self belongingness, that yes, someone is there for me in this world, who who is there to support me, who will be there for me, and I can talk anything about it to him. Whether it is girl or boy, doesn't matter. It should be like a person who is there for you and you're there for her. So it's like that. But irrespective of it, when you're having any problem, talk about it. The only solution, I say.
But it's not easy finding that person, right? Is it
It's
easy to
not
find that?
easy, but it's not, I mean, it depends. It can be your friend, it can be your family, it can be your someone you know, but it it is you should know to find your space to them. It's like you have to identify there are people. So like sometimes it keep on changing, but the one person that will go constant. So it you have to realize that you have that space, because you need to take that step. Obviously sometime it's not that people are not that open, but if you're taking that step, and you should have that confidence on the person, by by taking into the consideration that how the person is, how our relationship is, and what is the nature of person. So it generally comes from our friend community only. Like I also have my friend where I can talk anything to her, whether it is family problem, whether it is my office problem, whether it is my friend's problem, anything. But she is there to listen to me, and she will not say anything which can be like against to me or right to me or wrong to me. That is not her problem. It's just that I am facing the challenges, and there she is there for me. So it's just like that. And I feel so satisfied when I have that person where I can share my problem, and at least someone is there to listen to me. And after that I feel much better, and then I keep things like everything goes normal, back to normal.
That's good. I would say in the same way as well for a lot of people. That's great. But there are some people who are like me, for example, or guys in general. They are not tend to open up. I mentioned this in my other episode before. Like they're guys that don't tend to open up more to people because they tend to show people their weaknesses, and people don't want people to see their weakness, right? And so, what would you say to guys like me or to guys out there who are having problems, but they're unable to open up? And if we say you need to open up, they're gonna nah, you know. So what would you say
No,
to
you can't.
people?
You can't be open to everyone, I would say. But I think you need to find your space to someone. So
Mm,
you need to find that space, that who can be that person. It can be your spouse, it can be your children, it can be your friend. So but you need to find that space, that who is that person where I can rely on, who, like, where you have that confidence. So obviously I understand that it's not even for girls. We don't open to everyone, although we are good at expressing emotions, but we don't open to everyone. We also maintain area around, like, the environment where what I need to share to everyone and what I need to share to my close one. So I think for guys also, you need to find a space with whom you can talk about things. It can be a childhood friend, or it can be a person who have been there with you since
mm.
childhood. You know everything about you, there is nothing hidden from him. So you need to select that and try interacting, try to talk more about it, and feel, if you feel comfortable, then only go ahead and sharing more about the things. So you just need to try that.
That's great advice. That is great advice. Most of the guys I know who have problems like this, they tend to, oh, we're just gonna go to the bar and drink, and eventually someone who's drunk will come talk to us, and that's where we share our messages, share our problems. And I kind of feel like in for guys, for example, like guys at my work, teachers, for example, um, sometimes at night they will get together and they'll hang out and we'll talk, and sometimes the things that they talk about is usually about complaints about their work life. And sometimes when after the event or after the dinner, I'll be wondering, why do we even go to this dinner where all the time we go there we hear people complain all the time about their bosses and stuff? And I just realized, oh, because they have no one else to talk to. And so this is like a gathering where they can meet people without being judged at and share their problems. And I think this is a step for a lot of people. I think this is great as well. Get together, hang out, and talk about problems.
Yeah. Yes,
And
and there are some certain groups also. It's like recently I attended one group, and I like given a session also on positive thinking, which was the group of people who were facing anxiety and depression. It was unknown, like group of unknown people who were not knowing them before. It was just a group where people joined them online and came together to talk about their anxieties and depression, that what they are facing, because they can't share with their family and friends. So at least when they know that they are not going to judge me, they do not have any contacts where they can share, and it would not matter to him. then they share their problems and open up about things, and then also suggest that what can be the best positive aspect that they can consider to solve their problem. So I think there are certain groups also where people, if they feel that it cannot be shared with anyone, they do not have any person, then they can join some certain groups like that, or maybe some professional also, they can seek that help from them, because it's their job to keep that secret and talk about it.
So
So there
so
are
there is so there
other
are
ways
groups like this
also.
online. That is cool. I didn't know about this. Are these groups usually free at
Yeah,
all? Or they do they
yeah.
cost money
Like
to
for
join?
India, no, the group I joined recently was free of cost, and I joined on there is a site called Me, and there is a group, Tell Your Story. So I joined that. I have given the session on that. I joined for a session, but then I found that it is like the group of unknown people, basically in the park, where it was like 10, 15 people visited there in one session, and they talk about their problems and everything. So I don't know about your location, but here, yeah, we have. So maybe you would just search it on, and then you can find something there also. So there are people
Wow, that's
who
cool.
create a group to share.
Well, for my listeners out there, for everyone, there is a solution now. I just found out if you can't talk to anyone, you can't find any of your friends to talk to or problems. There are online groups, and eventually they are free, and we can look them up in your areas, wherever they are, and try to get into this group and share your problems. I mean, this is great. This is a great idea. This is a great platform. I mean, the world has given us so much things right now. I'm amazed right now by hearing this. I feel like there's so much things we can find out there, and sometimes people use the internet for the wrong reasons. But yeah, for my students out there are ways to find your happiness, find the pathway. And we have learned so much just now from this conversation. I really like this conversation I had with Pratibha. We learned so much, lots of things that we have to understand. And the thing that I really want to emphasize, she mentioned, is we need to have balance. We need to have a set goal in mind towards our happiness, and try not to compromise our goal in mind with things that is happening around us. We shouldn't have that. So, Pratibha, I mentioned a few things that you mentioned. Could you summarize it in, let's say, 3 steps or 3 points on how we can seek our way or our journey, like you mentioned, towards happiness?
So, first, I would say that whatever goal you have, cut down to a smaller milestone. So it's just that you should not be waiting so much for achieve that goal, but you should be um, celebrating the smaller milestone that you achieve. So it will give you sense of happiness that yes, there you are in that stage. So it will give you that happiness. Then second thing that you should be celebrating and appreciating what you have right now. So instead of comparing things with other, and regretting that what you don't have, but appreciate what you have right now. So this is the thing that was very important. If you go into the comparison and feel the things which are negative, but do not feel about the positive things, it won't be giving you that sense of satisfaction. But when you come to the things what you have right now, how you have achieved that, what was the struggle behind that, then you will feel that satisfaction. So this is the second thing, and the most important thing, that yes, your up and down will come, but don't get demotivated. Just keep on moving. Talk about the problem, face it, and raise your raise yourself up and move. So I think keep on moving is the best thing towards running for your happiness and towards running your goals. So always keep on moving.
Thank you. Thank you
So this is
for
the
your
three
points
three
there.
things I would
I really like it. Keep on moving, guys. We have problems, we have challenges. We are going to face it. We are going to have it. Just face it head on, I guess, and then keep on moving, because we can't let our life stops here. We has to keep on moving. We cannot focus on regrets. Thank you, Pratibha. Thank you for coming to this show, Pathway to Happiness. We learned so much today. I hope you enjoy your time as well, and hope our listeners out there
Yeah,
can
it
learn
was
something.
really nice.
So
Yeah.
everyone,
Thank you so
please
much for
check out
inviting me.
Pratibha Tiwari's LinkedIn page. I will post it up into the comment section later, and you can take a look at it. Oh, on YouTube there is a description there. I think I put it in there, so you can go check her out, learn more, connect with her more if you need more help with motivational stuff as well. And stay tuned. This week we have a lot of shows coming up. I have one show tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. Please stay tuned for that as well, and we're gonna have exciting time. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.